After watching the tape, we felt as a staff on both sides of the ball and special teams, we lost the game up front. Their front seven and their offensive line were outstanding in my opinion. Like I said earlier in the week, I envision after development and through recruiting that our offense and defensive fronts looked like that. They were big, they were strong. We were overwhelmed. Our kids hung in there for the first quarter and a half. And then after that quarter and a half, I thought we were overwhelmed by the strength and power of both fronts. And we got ourselves caught in a whirlwind after right before the half. Just like I said, it wouldn't have been the most popular idea, but I said it at the end of the game that I thought we should have ran the football, got out of the half 14-3. We're not wired right now to go the distance in a 2-minute situation. We will be in the future. I've always thought that you need to be aggressive at those end of half situations because they normally dictate a game. But in that situation, we should have run the football, got back to the locker room 14-3. And from that point on, as soon as they scored right before half, we spiraled. And we lost the game up front on both sides, particularly after the half. Any questions?
After this week, they are 0-8. Do you expect to meet a desperate football team?
Oh, without a doubt. I said to our kids today that it's going to be the team with the best mentality, best attitude, Monday through Friday, and which team shows up on Saturday is going to dictate this game. We're in a very similar situation to Akron. They're in a rebuild also. Some things haven't gone right in their favor. They're banged up. They've got injuries. It's just like we do. And it's going to be the team. They just had a very tough road game similar to us. It's going to be our mentality versus their mentality this week. And the team that has the best practice, the best mentality, the best attitude, and the one that shows up is going to be the winner in this game. Two very similar situations with us and them.
When there's similar situations like that, do you feel like it's a battle of who wants to prove that they're rebuilding better at this point?
No, not at all. That's not the kids' responsibility about a rebuild. It's ours as a staff with recruiting and building mentality and building culture. This is a football game for them, and we've had a lot of things that didn't go our way this year as well as they have. And it's a mentality, it's an attitude, it's who wants to win the game more, period, end. And that's got to be shown, though. Just like their football team, it's got to happen Monday through Friday, and they need to have great preparation. We need to have great preparation, and whoever prepares better, and whoever shows up Saturday with the right mindset and mentality is going to win the game.
Even though Akron hasn't won a game yet, what is still something that jumps off at you on the tape that you guys got to handle?
Yeah, when you look at it, they haven't given up a lot of yardage like you would think for a team that hasn't won a game. There's not too many. I think there was one game that was over 450 yards that they gave up. They're not giving up a lot of yardage. I haven't got to the red area and the third down portion of the tape yet, so it'll be interesting to see. But when you watch their open field first and second down tape, you're not seeing a bunch of explosion plays. You're not seeing a bunch of misfits in the run game. It looks like it's hard to move the ball against them. So it's going to be very interesting to look at the situational football, which we'll do tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday, to see where they're giving these points up. So that's one thing that you can take from the offensive side of the ball. Their offense against our defense, I think the quarterback's dangerous. I think he has the ability to make a guy miss, and anytime that you've got a dual threat guy the way he is, that's always problematic.
Coach, over halfway through the season, I know you took a little bit of the fault before the half against Western. What have you learned about yourself as a coach this far this season?
Yeah, the ups and downs and staying positive in tough situations. I'm a perfectionist. Our staff is a bunch of perfectionists. And it's winning the daily battles and staying positive, which you have to do in these situations. That doesn't mean that you're settling or what have not, and your standards and expectations haven't changed. But to be negative and miserable all the time is not the way to go. And I've caught myself several times going down that path. I've always been that way. If it's not right, I can go from 0 to 100 quick. But you got to look at the positives that are occurring. There are positives. It's not all negative. We are improved. I said to our football team many times, if you looked at what we looked like on spring football #1 to where we're at right now, it's night and day. Is it good enough to win yet? Absolutely not. We're not there yet. But there has been a lot of improvement, and we're not going to sit here and settle. And to say that it's going to be rosy in a country club around here, that'll never occur. But you have to bring out some positive and talk about some positive that's occurring. So that's been the biggest challenge for me, is staying positive whenever things aren't wired right. And they're not going to be perfect for a little bit now. So staying positive, yet not folding and compromising your standards and expectations has been a real challenge. So I've learned a lot in these last particular 3 months.
What do you say to yourself to talk yourself out of the negative?
You got to look at what's positive, and there are. Like you watched how Nico has been playing. You watch the young freshmen and their development, and so there is positive. You look back, and I caught myself one time pulling up spring football #5 and looking where we're at. It's not even close. I mean, it's not even in the hemisphere of how much we've improved. I've watched Grant improve. So there's a lot of it. It's still not, though, to the standard and expectations that we need to have, and that it takes to win. So, building on some positive is important, and I've been working at that.
4 games to go, and with the redshirt rules changing, you can start to get in guys and not burn them. How do you plan on deploying the new guys, and how do you determine, what is the baseline between ready for the field and not ready?
Yeah, that's a tough decision, and you don't want to hurt your football team with a guy that's not ready to play, but you also want to get some experience. So we've got to be careful in how we go about that. Playing time is earned, and we've set the stage for many of those freshmen a few weeks ago to say, hey, listen, if you want to play in these last couple weeks and earn some experience, you've got to earn it on the practice field. So we're never going to give anyone anything. That's never going to occur. If they've earned the right to play, they're going to play.
Depth has been something that, obviously you're not as deep as you want to be. How big have the younger guys been in stepping up, and how big will they be in this back half of the season?
Yeah, the ones that have earned the right to play, it's really going to help us with our special teams depth. It is, we've got guys that are playing way too many snaps, particularly on defense. So to be able to spell those guys will be very helpful. And we're a beat up team right now that needs depth. So we're hoping that these freshmen have the ability to give us an opportunity to let them compete. But again, that's got to be earned. Nothing's ever given here, but I think you'll see some of those freshmen play in this later half to give us some depth and to give us some help, but they need to earn the right to play.
You mentioned mentality and attitude as a key for this week.
Yep.
Talking with Brandon after the Western game, he said he felt like, especially the defense, the energy was still high coming out of halftime. So how do you keep the guys on track when the energy is high and you're still not getting those?
Yeah, I don't know if it was. I thought the wind went out of our sails at halftime. We did not play well in the second half at all on either side of the football. I thought the wind went out of our sails whenever we decided to try to go score. And then we let the Western Michigan come back and drive right down and score immediately. And again, like I said, once we're wired the right way, in that situation on paper, you have to go for it because they're going to have the ball coming out of halftime. But understanding where we're at as a football team, I did not do that, and I did not handle that situation very well. It would have been extremely unpopular. I don't care. I could care less, but that was the best thing for our football team, and we didn't do it. So the wind went out of our sails when we gave the ball back to Western Michigan and they scored right before half. That's whenever the wind went out of our sails, and then they just dominated up front. If you watch the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, they dominated the second half. And just like I said, that's where I want to get. I want to get to the point where both sides of the line of scrimmage are dominated up front. They've done a great job recruiting. We need to get bigger, stronger, faster. We need to recruit big guys that are big and powerful and strong, and have enough skill guys around them to take care of the ball, and that's how you win, period. And you win up front, you win with a quarterback, and you find a couple of guys that can make a couple plays that can score. It's not very complicated, but right now, our front was dominated on both sides of the ball. No, there's no question, no ifs, ands, or buts. That's what occurred.
When you guys are hitting some of those benchmarks though, like bringing intensity, maybe not getting as many penalties, converting on the daily double, and you still don't get the result you want, how do you keep the guys on track and still?
Well, if you really look at it, we've only won when we've won the daily double, and that's gotta continue. And you know, we gotta, just like I said, it's there's battles that you gotta win before you're gonna win the line of scrimmage. There's a lot of battles that are occurring that needs to occur in practice, that needs to occur in the off season. There's a lot of things that lead up to what the game's supposed to look like, and that's where I got to stay positive. You know, we're not necessarily getting some of the results that we want right now, but to have intelligence, to be smart, you got to win some battles that people don't see right now in order to give yourself a chance to win a game. And some of our kids right now have really bought into that. Some haven't, and we got to get all of them to buy into. We got to win these battles before we give ourselves a chance to win a game like Western Michigan and to be consistent. So, but that's where the positives that no one sees. That's where I've got to highlight and do a really good job of staying positive with that. Does that mean our standards and expectations are going to change? No, they're absolutely not. And we're going to, if we see a guy not hustling, you're going to know you're not hustling. So there's a fine line.